Honesty is a prerequisite to effective communication, and without clear channels of communication and honest expression, there's always going to be misunderstanding. So let's jump into the TTGM podcast. All right. This morning's subject, the importance of honesty in the workplace, as it pertains to the workplace, or to being a supervisor, an administrator, a boss. Now, in any corporate or professional setting, there's always a pecking order. Subsequently, there's always going to be politics. What we need are people that can navigate that political arena without losing their principles or their morality. Now, it's rare for an administrator to navigate those politics and to remain true to their inherent human nature, rather than getting sucked into the culture of self-serving behavior that so many of us fall to. Granted, one's viewpoints must adjust as they ascend in rank and status within a corporation or a company. It's simply part of the process of growth, elevation, climbing the ladder. Finding yourself in a position of authority. These are things you're going to have to deal with. There are new things, considerations, worries that you're going to have to consider that you never had to worry about before. So after a long enough time, it's easy to lose your direction, and it's rare for a person to be able to navigate this type of pressure while still maintaining a truth, a commitment to their moral core. It is. A lot of our leaders, they want to do good. They have good intentions, especially in the beginning, but they get sucked into the style of the race that they're stuck competing in. All right. So maybe they lose sight of the fact that serving others authentically is what's going to lead to contentment, rather than achieving more power, more money, more status. Whatever the reason, in any workplace politics and in any place with a pecking order, you're going to find leaders and supervisors, CEOs, bosses. There's always going to be a circle of people telling them what they want to hear around them. Honesty is a prerequisite to effective communication, and without clear channels of communication and honest expression, there's always going to be misunderstanding. A supervisor that wants to do well for themselves, they can, simply by applying the trends and the habits of those that came before them, not necessarily remaining committed to their subordinates or their employees, but rather adopting the same self-serving attitude that most end up adopting over time. Unfortunately, this is the type of attitude that most high-ranking individuals end up employing over the course of their career. They forget where they came from. Now, caring about people isn't a prerequisite to doing well financially or professionally or monetarily, but it is necessary if you want to do well morally, purposefully, and genuinely. A long time ago, I realized that people are inherently good. We're just living in a very broken world. Subsequently, most people want to have other people like them, and they want those people to like them genuinely. The disconnect comes when people are so indoctrinated into one particular way of thinking that they lose touch with authenticity or reality, empathy. A good supervisor, a good boss, is going to try to stay connected to what's going on the ground level of their business or their corporation. But that may not always be possible. The people at the top of these corporations, these businesses, they have tremendous amounts of responsibility. They can't always keep their ear to the ground listening for the buffalo, That's why they rely on the individuals directly underneath them to help them stay connected to what's going on with their employees. This thought process right here, it makes me think about the Roman court, politicians in white robes competing for pride and position, not necessarily caring about the citizens, but instead about how they can improve their own lives. Wherever there's a boss, there's going to be somebody, most likely a lot of people, trying to get in their ear and trying to influence them to provide their boss with information that serves their own individual interests, rather than the interests of the company or the boss that is trying to run that company. Oftentimes it's like the coups you would see in a movie, an attempt at overthrowing the direction of things, or an attempt to redistribute power. This stuff really happens. All right. Let's say that you're a supervisor. You've got employees all around you that you trust to do their job. I mean, they were selected for the positions that they're in because they've proven somewhere along the path that they can handle an elevated level of responsibility, right? We're talking about your top tier employees here, the ones just underneath the big boss. So the big boss is going to rely on these individuals to make sure that they can keep him or her informed of what's truly going on within their business or their agency. So what direction things are going, what pitfalls might be waiting just ahead along the path to corporate and professional success. Some people carry that mantle appropriately, but most truly don't. Most people are self-serving. It's an epidemic, a sickness of the mind, a selfishness of the spirit. And most people have become infected by this. But you still got good employees. You still have good people. You still have the occasional authentic person. Now, Martin Luther King said, "We refuse to believe that the bank of justice is bankrupt." It's not. It's not bankrupt, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that it gets closer to being bankrupt with each and every single passing generation. This means that morally bankrupt behavior will continue to rise in the workplace. Dishonesty will continue to rise in the workplace. But that means that so too will the need for, importance of, and value of employees that tell the truth. So let's take it old school and say that you're a king or a queen ruling over your kingdom. All right? Would you want to know about dying crops and starvation amongst your citizens? Or would you prefer to sit in your ivory tower, eating and drinking without worrying about what may come tomorrow? There's what we want to do selfishly, and then there's what we need to do morally. One is enjoyable in the moment, less stressful, comfortable, but it jeopardizes the long-term important stuff. The other option may be a bit inconvenient, but it allows you to deal with an issue as it arises, and you stop that issue from evolving into something far greater. This is how to avoid unrest amongst the citizens, or more practically, amongst colleagues or employees. So if you're a supervisor, a king, a CEO, a leader, there's something that you need to remember. A good king will surround themselves with people that will tell them the uncomfortable truth rather than the comfortable lie. The comfortable lie might make the day easy, and it might allow you to get through another work week without too much headache. But in the long term, it's a toxic thing to embrace. The uncomfortable truth, that's something that will present the issue as it arises, allowing you to formulate a game plan to tackle that issue, allowing you to put your head together with other individuals that are interested in accomplishing the mission of fixing the issue. So a wise king or a wise boss, they won't surround themselves with yes men or yes women, but instead they will recognize the value of individuals that are willing to say what others don't want to say, what others are afraid to say, because they value themselves or their own interests more than they value the collective need for change. Employees that embrace courage, integrity, truth, and principle, they're the best types of employees for corporations or agencies, companies, businesses. The message I'm sending today is a really simple one, and really you can apply it at any level inside of a workplace. Whether you're the boss, the colleague, the employee, give a little extra appreciation to those that are willing to tell you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear. Start looking at the habits of those that you surround yourself with. If you're surrounded with people that just tell you what you want to hear to earn your favor or to potentially promote their own agenda, all it takes is paying a little bit of attention, and you can usually start to identify these types of motivations and incentives existing within the hearts of those around you. I mean, you'll see it. They'll reveal it to you. Just start looking for the signs. If you're not sure about it, sit back and watch a little longer. Learn, observe. It will reveal itself. Maybe give that person a test. Provide them with an option and see which one they choose. Put them in a position where they have a moral choice that they can make, or a choice that's going to serve their own interests. On one hand, it's going to serve their interests, and on the other hand, it's going to serve the interests of the business or the agency, the people, the mission, the vision statement. This should be at the core of what somebody's actions represent. That's quite revealing. See which choice they make. Do this a couple times to better identify the sneaky ones, because you have those too. If a workplace has people in it that don't believe in the vision of that workplace, the workplace is going to suffer. A leader or a boss has to pay attention to this, because this is the stuff that can slay corporations. Think about the story of the Trojan horse mentioned in the Odyssey. All right, Greek soldiers were able to sack the city of Troy after a 10-year siege by hiding in a giant horse, supposedly left outside the gates as a peace offering. Now, it wasn't a peace offering, all right? It was subterfuge. This is what some sneaky employees are doing to corporations, and it's toxic. You have to pay attention to this. This type of thing degrades culture, and it leads to the loss of employees that would have helped repair the culture of a company. So it's toxic. It's a negative snowball effect that can, if left unchecked, completely topple a business or a culture in a workplace. Companies evolve and they grow, but toxic employees are like kryptonite to growth. If we're talking about a new business, forget it. It won't get off the ground, but an established business where the culture seems to be slipping away into chaos, evaluate that workplace. And the number one thing you'll find that leads to that chaos is a culture that's not proactively eliminating toxic employees from their payroll. The ones that don't truly believe in the vision of that business, the ones that could care less about the mission statement. Value honesty in the workplace. The honest colleagues, the honest employees, the honest bosses are the only reason that the place hasn't already filed bankruptcy. Speaking truthfully about the hard work that needs to be done is the only way to formulate a plan to actually get that stuff done and to keep the workplace evolving. All right, so keep the workplace growing. A good boss will remain objective. They'll try to surround themselves with people that want to achieve the mission for the day, but more importantly, people that authentically can see the vision of the agency, the business, the corporation. Keep your eyes open. I'll leave you with this final thought, all right? Roy T. Bennett once said, "Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world." On your deathbed, you're not going to care about your salary. You're going to care about the energy, the effort, the emotion that you left behind. And you are going to use what you know about yourself regarding those areas to conjecture what is waiting for you on the other side of death. Will you go in peace, or will you depart this place terrified? That's the question. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed the content in this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you can be one of the first people notified about new drops coming out weekly from Time to Grow Motivation. Content created to reconnect consciousness. If you have the time, take a few moments to relate this video to your own life and ask yourself, how can I apply this information to my life today to be a better person tomorrow? Never forget that you are powerful and that growth will always demand discomfort. So if it's tough right now, that just means that you're being molded into something greater for later. Take the challenge. Always seek out opportunities to help others elevate, and you are well on your way to changing the world. If you found the content in this video valuable, drop hashtag #KeepGrowing in the comments below, or any subjects that you'd like to hear us talk about in the future. And don't forget to share this video with who you think needs to hear it most. Stay lovely. We'll see you next time.